Let's talk rebuilding the shoulder. It is one of the most common conditions that I see people struggling with. And it's really important to understand a little bit of the physiology and the biomechanics of the shoulder and how the cervical spine, the thoracic spine, and the scapula all play into it. But I'm going to make it really simple, and then I'm going to give you some really practical exercises that you guys can do to begin to recapture the normal strength and mobility of your shoulder. So let's talk a little bit about shoulder function itself. The shoulder is a ball and socket joint, meaning that it has a ball of the humerus that inserts into the socket of the scapula. It's very shallow. The cool thing about that, it allows for a wide range of movement. Your elbow does not move like that. It has a little bit of rotation and flexion and extension. But your shoulder has this wide range of movement in every single degree and angle. Very cool. The only downside is lack of stability. So you have four muscles of the rotator cuff that help to support it, but you also have the pec muscles that go into it, the bicep muscles, the tricep, the teres muscles, the latissimus dorsi, the trapezius, the levator scapulae. All of these muscles play a role into the normal shoulder function. Not all of them cross the shoulder, but they all play a role in the health of the shoulder. So with all that being said, the first thing we have to do when it comes to the shoulder is start centrally. If you are seeing a provider that is not looking at the cervical spine and the thoracic spine and assessing the function of that to go along with your shoulder, they are absolutely missing the boat. You have to make sure that the cervical spine is clear and the thoracic spine is clear in order to ensure proper integrity of the shoulder. Then from a bony connection, we have one bone that connects your arm with your axial skeleton or the center of your body, and that is the clavicle. So we want to assess the sternoclavicular joint, which is right here. Then we want to assess the acromioclavicular joint, which is up here. Then the glenohumeral joint, which is where it goes into the actual socket. And then you have this pseudo joint, which is the scapula, the shoulder blade, as it sits on the rib cage. And so, cervical spine, thoracic spine, and then we want to check the articulations from central or proximal out distally. Okay? Once we got that handled, then the next step is we want to make sure that we have proper motion in the shoulder. So if we're looking at flexion and extension, one of the ways that we can stretch that is if you come over here, you can use the wall and hold on to it and sink into it to work on that full shoulder flexion. When you do that, you want to keep your shoulder plugged in. You don't want to let that go out because that can create some impingement. You can also get your elbow on the wall and then lean into it like that. You can do that in a doorway as well. That stretches the lat and opens up that front compartment. Then what you want to do is work on extension. So you get down on the ground, fingers pointing forward, feet up, and lift your hips as high as they go, and take your shoulders and roll them out. And then lift up higher. Take a breath, open, lift up higher. If you can get up all the way, if these motions are really easy for you, some of you might be hypermobile. If these motions are tough for you, if you're going back like this and you're like, I can barely get off the ground here, I can't pull my shoulders back, we got to get better range of motion. If you pull your shoulders back and you can float all the way up and make it all the way full tabletop, chances are you have fine range of motion. You don't need to do that one. And we need to work on stability instead. So these two exercises are great for checking for whether you are hypomobile or hypermobile, meaning moving too much. Then we want to assess internal rotation, making sure that you can go basically all the way down so your fingers are pointing at the ground. The key is keeping that shoulder back. Anyone can do that. See, that's not good though. That's not assessing motion. That's an unstable position. So you want to keep your shoulder plugged back and down and then be able to go down. Same thing with extension. You want it plugged back and be able to go up vertical. If you're missing any of those, we have a problem. If you're good with those, then you move on to the stability exercise that we're going to talk about. And this isn't just about stability, it's about coordination. So first one we're going to do is what's known as the scapular push-up. So what you're going to do is you're going to get into a push-up position. You can start with your knees on the ground. We'll start with our knees on the ground for this one. Elbows are going to be straight, fingers spread and pressed into the ground. Then what you're going to do is you're going to keep your elbows straight and squeeze your shoulder blades together. Then you're going to press up, and then once you get to the top, you're going to press even more. Squeeze the shoulder blades, press up and up. Then if you want to make it a little bit harder, push-up position, squeeze the shoulder blades, press up and then up. Squeeze the shoulder blades, doing your best to keep your core tight in here. I see all too often people do this. And then they press back up. And then they lean down like that. You're losing that stability there. You want to have the proper coordination where you can keep that core tight, squeeze down, and then press back up. That's a great one for building proper stability and coordination of the shoulder blades. Then you can do the same thing hanging. So if you have a pull-up bar or something you can hang from, I'll grab this bar right over here. So pretend this is I'm hanging from a pull-up bar. You're here, squeeze the shoulders down, and then back up. And then squeeze and let yourself back. So you're hanging and pulling yourself up by pulling your shoulder blades down. Then you're going to take either a row machine or a band, attach it to something, and you're going to be here and you're going to squeeze shoulder blades back and then all the way forward and squeeze, and you can add a row into that as well. And here and here. What you don't want to do is this. That's not doing anything for it. You want to really squeeze those shoulder blades back and down when you're rowing and work on that motion in there. Then we're going to talk wall rotations. So you're going to kneel against the wall, hip against the wall. So get your side body all the way against the wall. Opposite leg facing forward. Palm is going to be up. Then what you're going to do is you're going to reach it all the way up and then rotate and then all the way down. Then you're going to reverse it all the way up and then rotate it and back. You can also take something, put it between here so you're pressing while you're going. By pressing in, it keeps you from opening up and moving your hips, and you're really focusing on that thoracic spine rotation there, rather than turning with your whole pelvis, that knee caving in. That's just defeating the purpose with that. Once you get good at this, you can even add weight to it as well and do those. Ideally with those, with all of these, it's a very safe bet to just stick with 10. Just 10 reps of everything. Start with one round, build your way up to 3, 4, even 5 rounds if you have the time for it that day. Then the last one, this one is huge. This one, I had shoulder issues years ago from an overuse injury. And when I started doing these, it helped tremendously. And I'll show you how bad I was at it at first. So what you do is you take your shoulder blade and you pull it down. Take your other hand, reach behind you, squeeze that shoulder blade into your spine, then bring your elbow all the way down. So you don't want to arch like this. You're not like this. You're keeping neutral, but squeezing that shoulder blade into my spine as hard as I can. And then I'm going to raise this arm without letting my shoulder blade move at all. So I'll show you what not to do. Here, everything is moving. Can you see that? As I raise my arm, everything is moving. I'm going to show you what normal would look like. squeeze, and then raise while you squeeze. So you see I'm raising my whole arm without my shoulder blade moving at all. This isn't moving. This isn't moving. It's staying down as I raise that arm. When I first started doing this, because I had major injury in my right shoulder, I could do that with my left one. When I did my right one, this was the motion I had. This was all I could move before that scapula wanted to move. And I realized I got to get a handle over this, otherwise my shoulder is never going to get better. And slowly, little by little, I was able to go more and more. So with this exercise, don't worry about how high you go. If this is all you can do in the beginning, that's fine. But over a period of weeks, you'll be able to raise that arm higher and higher and eventually get that arm overhead. And if you find that you're able to do tabletop, you have great shoulder flexion when you do that stretch in there, you're able to have good internal and external rotation, then you're able to do the scapular push-ups, scapular pull-ups, scapular rows, and then you're able to do the circles on the wall, and then you're able to do this scapular stability exercise. And then one more exercise that I'm going to give you. And I called this one, patients love the name of this. It's called the sexy pose. So you get into this position where you lay on the ground or on a bench, just like this, like as if you're posing. Then you're taking a light dumbbell, resting your elbow on your knee, and then rotating down and then bringing it up. Bringing it down and up. The key with this one is keep that shoulder down. So I'll show you what you don't. Watch my shoulder. Don't do this. See how that's rolling over and in? So I'm keeping it back and down, letting that go down, lifting up, slowly lowering, and back up. The goal is to be able to work up to about 10% of your body weight for 15 reps or so. Even if you just start with that one with a can of vegetables at home or something, 1 pound, 2 pounds, 5 pounds, 8 pounds. Doesn't need to be heavy to start. Make sure that you can get 15 good reps before you move up your weight with a goal of getting to about 10% of body weight. Okay? So that covers it for rebuilding the shoulder. Again, some of you might have other specific things going on, but all of those exercises, along with your chiropractic adjustments to correct the cervical spine and thoracic spine, as well as all of those articulations into the shoulder that we talked about, if you combine that with the exercises that I just gave you here, I have no doubt that over time you will be able to rebuild your shoulder and make a big difference.